Shri Padmatmani Namaham. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang this beautiful May 9th, 2021. And for all that are watching, especially here on the eastern side of the world, for every single mother watching, on behalf of the Shiva Shakti Mandir, the executive board, we'd like to wish each and every one of you a very, very happy Mother's Day. Now, as we always do, devotees, I ask that we all join together, clasp our hands and close our eyes. And join together, I should have said this first, in this beautiful bhajan, as I welcome you all to our service for today. स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो रंजन सब नर नार ईश सगुण निरगुण विनाशी माता पिता यार ईश सगुण निर्गुण अविनाशी माता पिता यार तोर माए हम वास्त सदाही तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाही तार हमें संसार स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमार रंजन सब नर नार तीर्थ भाया मोद लगावे पुण्य यहाँ पर सार तीर्थ भाया सार संगति संतन नीम चला संगति संतन नीम चला शोभन सब व्यवहार स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमार रंजन सब नर नार रंजन सब नर नार रंजन सब नर नार. At this time, devotees, I ask that we all join together as we clasp our hands and close our eyes. Go ahead and take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your spine, relax your neck. As you sit in your comfortable and relaxed position, take some time to focus on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, one that will help you focus, and join together with me as we chant these opening prayers. Purnamana Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamanaya Purnamevavashishyate Ishavasyam Diram Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktina Bhunjita Makruthakasya Swidhanam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvashavahe Hariom Shanti 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 Hari Om. We take some time, devotees, as we join together now as we all chant the most powerful Gayatri Mantra. Om Agakshe Vardevi Akshari Brahmavadini Gayatri Jagat Mata Vishwayoni Namostute Om Bhuri Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् हरि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम प्रेम से बोलो गायत्री माता की जय. As we continue on with our prayers for today, devotees, I ask that we all join together as we offer prayers and obediences to that remover and destroyer of all obstacles in our life. As we offer prayers, the Lord Ganesh. Om Yajananam Bhutanganadhi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Palacharamakshana Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwar Pada Pankajam Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurumi Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Raksha Raksha Gananaksha Rakshatre Lokya Rakshakan Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhava Bhavaranavar Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namaham Prem Sabal Ganesh Bhagwan Ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that universal mother and that destroyer of all evils in our life. We offer prayers to Adi Shakti, Durga Mata. Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swatha Namostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Putarate Nihardini Jai Sarvagati Devi Kale Ratre Namostute Adevi Sarvamudhishu Vishnu Maiti Shamnita Namastasye 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 Namo. As we offer these prayers, devotees, with today being Mother's Day, I want you to recognize and remember that in the ways we worship Adi Shakti, Durga Mata, we see our own mothers in the same way. That remover and destroyer of all evils and obstacles in our life. That mother that we recognize as wise, the one who is prosperous, who provides us with wealth, who is filled with energy to continue to support the family, who has faith in knowing that everything will be okay, who is filled with shanti, peace, in times of chaos and turmoil, bringing us solace. That person who's filled with contentment, knowing how well these children that they're raising, this family that they've raised, are doing. That person who's filled with compassion, compassion for them, compassion for their kids, compassion for their family, compassion for others. That universal mother, that mother that we all see every day, the one that we love and continue to love. Remember, as we offer these prayers, to keep your own mother in your mind as we continue to pray. Devi sarvabhuteshu buddhirupena samstita namastasye 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 namo namah. Devi sarvabhuteshu lakshmirupena samstita namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devi Sarvabhuteshu Tushni Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः देहि सौभाग्यं आरोग्यं देहि मे परमं सुखं रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि यशो जहि ओम प्रेम सर्वादि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obeisances to the most influential beings in our life. We offer prayers to the Navgraha. Murari Tripurari Bharushashi Bhume Suto Budhascham Guruscha Shukraha Shanirahu Keto Sarvengraha Shanti Paramhavantu Sarvengraha Shanti Paramhavantu. As we continue with our prayers to the Nagraha Devata, with today being Sunday, devotees, we offer prayers to that being that exists in the form of the sun and that sustainer of all life on this universe. We offer prayers to Surya Narayana. Om Suryaya Namah 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 Adideva Namastubhyam Prasidham Mama Bhashkaram Divakar Namastubhyam Prabhakar Namostute Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah. Om Prem se bolo Navgraha Devata ki jai. Prem se bolo Surya Narayana Bhagavan ki jai. Devotees, we now offer prayers to that sustainer of all things dharmic and all things righteous in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shantakaram Bhujagshairam Vadamanabham Surisham Vishwadharam Gaganim Sadrasham Meghavaranam Shubhagam Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalnayanam Yogim Hiradhyanagamyam Vanni Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Kanatam Om Sashankha Chakram Sakirita Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirurekshanam Sahara Vakshastara Shobhikostu Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Om Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. And finally, devotees, we join together as we offer prayers to that Universal Father and that Universal Guru. As we offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe. As we join together in prayers to Lord Shiva. Saram Bhujagendraharam Saravasantam Hirdayardavande Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani sahitam naman. Om Namah Shivaya. Brahma Murari Surarchita Lingam Niramanabhasita Shobhita Lingam Janama Jadu Vinashakalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Deva Muni Praravarchita Lingam Kamadaham Karunakaralingam Ravana Dharpa Vinashalalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Suravasubhanni Sulepitalingam Munhi Vivardhanakaranalingam Sinhasuram Suravandhitalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Kanakamahamani Bhushitalingam Panipati Vishtita Shobhitalingam Rakshasuyajna Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Kumkuma Chandana Nipitalingam Pangajahara Sushobhitalingam Sanchita Papa Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Devanganarchita Sevitalingam Bhaivarha Bhakti Girevachalingam Dinakara Koti Prabhakaralingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Ashtadaloparivishtitalingam Sarvasamudam Bhavakaranalingam Ashtadharindrainashitalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Suraguru Suravara Pujitalingam Suravana Pushpa Sadarchitalingam Param Paramatma Kakalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Om Vaimashtakam Idam Punyam Yahapati Shiva Sannidha Shivalokmavapnotir Shivena Sahamurati Om Namah Shivaya. Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they may have a fast, a speedy, and full recovery. We also offer this prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May their passage be a smooth and tranquil one. As we continue to pray, devotees, I want you to remember all those in the past year, all those who are currently suffering from these various illnesses, especially COVID-19. Those families that are suffering, those poor souls that are suffering from this debilitating disease. Keep all of those people in your mind, especially if you don't have anybody in specific to focus on. And pray for them, pray for their souls, pray for their bodies, and pray for their recovery. Om Trayam त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्युर्मुक्ष्यो मामृतात् ॐ गणपतये नमः ॐ कार्तिकेय नमः ॐ नन्दीश्वराय नमः ॐ वासुकिये नमः ॐ श्री सांब सदा शिवाय नमः। प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय। Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon today, I would like to once again thank Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording a song and sending it in for us to listen live during our virtual Sunday morning satsang. For any of you who would like to record a song and send it in to share with all of our devotees, please, I encourage you to do so. All you have to do is record it on your phone. You can actually email it directly from your phone if you need to. You can also record it on your computer or with some recording device and email it to me. I'll slightly edit it just to make sure that the format is correct, and then I can play it live here on our virtual Sunday morning satsang. So again, thank you again to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani. We'll take a moment here to listen to this very beautiful bhajan from Uncle Walter, and then we'll continue on with our sermon.
To dedicate this bhajan to all mothers. Happy Mother's Day. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. माँ ने हमको प्यार किया, हमको प्यार किया है जितना कौन करेगा इतना, कौन करेगा इतना। 9 महीने उतर मेरा का जब दुनिया में आया, दुनिया में आया। सराती लगी तो कदम में लेकर, सराती लगी तो कदम में लेकर तन का दूध पिलाया। कौन करेगा इतना, कौन करेगा इतना। माँ ने हमको प्यार किया है जितना, कौन करेगा इतना, कौन करेगा इतना। आप कदी दे सुख से सुलाया, काकर बचन सुरीला। बीमार पड़े जब पेट बुलाकर, बीमार पड़े जब पेट बुलाकर तन का दूध पिलाया। कौन करेगा इतना, कौन करेगा इतना। जवान हुए जब होड़ी चढ़ाया, या नहीं पार छूटा। माता की ममता इतनी बड़ी है, माता की ममता इतनी बड़ी है, सागर बड़ा है जितना। कौन करेगा इतना, कौन करेगा इतना। Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma.
Once again, thank you to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording that and sending it in. And a very wonderful surprise to hear a harmonium being played in the background. Very wonderful work, Uncle Walter. It's, for those of you who don't know, playing the harmonium and trying to sing and doing that kind of multitasking, especially while trying to record, very difficult situation to do. So it was very wonderful to hear that. And again, thank you both for sending that in. Devotees, before we commence with our sermon for today, for those of us who have a guru, I ask that we take some time to offer a prayer to our guru, and if not, then I ask that you take the form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, or even Lord Shiva, the universal guru in your mind, as your guru, as we join together and pray. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurue Namaham. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murati Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripar Prem Se Guru Guru Deo Ki Jai. Before we commence with our sermon for today, devotees, I do want to go ahead and apologize to each and every one of you. I have developed a slight cough over the past week, so if you hear me pause to cough, or if I cough into the microphone, or if I just pause in general, I do apologize as we're getting through the rest of the service. I did it, I know, a few times during some of the prayers, and again, I apologize for that, but please just bear with me as we continue on. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Devotees, last week when we began our sermon, we started on chapter 14 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna about the three modes of nature. He says there's sattva, which means goodness, rajas, which means passion, and tamas, which means ignorance. He went through and spoke about each one of these different modes of nature and its totality, what they mean, the one-word translation. And last week, when we had started and finished our sermon, devotees, we ended on verse 11, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Saravadvari Sunehismin, Prakasa Upajayate, Shnanam Yada Tada Vinyada, Vivhirgham Sattvam Ityuta, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Again, devotees, recapping, Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, there's sattva, which means goodness, there's rajas, which is passion, and there's tamas, which is ignorance. I did something slightly bad last week and I related everything to food, right? And made a few of you hungry. I know, because you told me I made you hungry. And I apologize for that. But he goes on to talk about each one of these different characteristics, one of these natures, in a very specific manner. So on verse 11, we ended with how does one attain goodness? How does one become sattva? And then what Bhagwan Shri Krishna says is when jnana appears and there's illumination in all gates of the body's knowledge, acquiring senses, and when happiness becomes manifest, one should know for certain that sattva guna is predominating. So he says in verse 11, how do we attain sattva guna? How do we attain happiness? We attain happiness by knowledge. Knowledge gives us happiness. That knowledge acquiring sense that we have is what gives us happiness. Now, how does that make sense, devotees? How does knowing something give us happiness? Let me ask you, if you didn't know the answer to the question, or let's say somebody on the other side of the room was talking about something, and you didn't fully hear, but you really want to know what they said, what does that bring you? What does that bring you? What it brings you is distress. You start to worry about what you just missed. We call it FOMO. My dad had to ask us yesterday. My sister texted a photo. My dad asked, what's FOMO mean? FOMO means fear of missing out, right? We get anxiety and stress. We have that fear of missing out on some specific event in our lives. If we have knowledge and we know where happiness comes from, if we understand and knowledge tells us that everything in the world around us is temporary, that this is all a grand illusion, that if we detach ourselves from all of these things, we truly will be happy. Because what will we have to worry about at the end of the day, devotees? Nothing. We will have nothing to worry about at the end of the day. So he says, in order for us to attain sattva guna, to attain happiness, that happiness, we have to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. Schoolhouse Rock did it right when they sang about this. Knowledge is power. But he says, furthermore, how are the other ones manifested? How is Rajagunas and Tamaguna? How are those things manifested? How are they brought about in the human soul or in the human body? Bhagwan Shri Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Lobha pravrittir arambha karmanam asamaspраha rajasa ithane jayante vivirne bharatara sabha aprat aso pravrittischa brahmado moha evacha tamsa ithane jayante vivirne Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Om Bharata Sabha. When Rajaguna becomes prominent, remember, rajas means passion. When passion becomes prominent, the symptoms of greed, fervent endeavor, and constant hankering for sense of pleasure all appear. So greed, pride, envy, that sense of pleasure, that need for pleasure will all appear. And he says, on the other hand, O Kurunandana, when tamoguna, when ignorance is predominated, it gives rise to darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion. Those things are all manifested. So there's three natures and modes of life. There's goodness, and by doing goodness, we become knowledgeable. By having knowledge, we become good. But if we decide to experience the other two, one of them will lead to greed, endeavor, and hankering, right? It'll lead you to wanting something all the time. And I gotta tell you, that's a terrible feeling, wanting something all the time. Sometimes we have a craving for something. We want to have something. Let's say it's a specific song, or maybe the feeling of like slime for kids on their hands, right? But if we go into tamoguna, if we are predominated by ignorance, we will be filled with darkness. We will be filled with madness. We will be filled with illusion. Why is that so important to know, devotees? Why is it important to know what these things will do to us? It's important to know because we have to live our lives in a very particular way. Now, if we want to be happy, we've got to be knowledgeable. But if we choose to delve into these other things, know that they don't lead to anything that's really good for us. They will never lead to anything that's really good for us. If we look at that tamoguna, that ignorance, right? I mean, darkness is not something we ever want. Inertia means just immovable. We're not moving. Madness, who wants to be mad? When we say mad, we talk about the emotion, but we also talk about what it does to our mind and how it treats everything we see. Who wants to see a world full of illusion? We all want to see the truth. However, on the other hand, why do we want to feel greed? Why do we want to have more than everybody else? Why do we have a hankering for a sense of pleasure? Why do we need to have such good things all the time? That's kind of where the separation is. These three modes of nature kind of show us how we live in life. Now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna wants us to know something further. He says these are how these different modes will treat you. These are what they will manifest within you. But what will happen once you turn into unmanifest? What happens when you leave this world? What do these three modes do to you? He goes on to tell Arjuna a little more about what happens to your soul. What happens to your soul after you leave this world based off the natures that you have decided to adopt in this life. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Yadha Sattva Pravriddhetu, Pranayam Yati Nabrit, Nadottama Vidam Lokhan, Amalan Pratipanyate, Rajasi Pralayam Jatva, Karma Sanghi Sujayate Tatta Pralin Nastamsi Modha Yoni Sujayate Karmana Sukritasyahu Satvikam Nirmalam Phalam Rajasastu Phalam Bhutam Ajnanam Tamasa Phalam Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna in verses 14, 15, and 16, when one leaves this body under the predominance of Sattva Guna, under the prominence of goodness, he attains the pure, higher planets, which are the abodes of the great sages, the worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, and which are free from the modes of the Rajas and the Tamas. However, one who dies when Rajagunas is predominant, when passion is predominant, takes a human birth among fruitive workers, while one who dies under the predominance of Tamoguna, under ignorance, takes birth among ignorant animals. It is said by the wise that Sattvika karma brings pure and pleasing results. Rajasic karma incurs only misery, and only the fruit of tamasic karma is ignorance. So, if you live good in this world, what happens to you in the next life? You may not even have to live a next life. You may attain the abode of the heavens, that abode of Bhagwan. What we deem as what we say in Eastern philosophy as heaven, that eternal salvation. However, if you're too filled with passion at the time of death, know that whatever your mind is stuck on is what you're going to be born back into again. If you're so connected to this worldly plane, you'll be born again and again to this worldly plane, only to be brought by misery. We're all like that in a sense. We all love the things we have, our home, our clothes, our cars. For me, I've got these, fancy microphones, right? I bought these with my own money, and I'm so attached to them. But have they always brought me joy? Absolutely not. About an hour before satsang today, before puja today, I sat down and I'm sitting here tinkering with these things, adjusting the volume, adjusting the levels. And even now, it's still not happy. I'm still not happy with how the microphones sound because I'm too attached to this material world. But if I live in ignorance, if I live not knowing what good is, if I live not knowing how to make people better, how to make this world a better place, just know that when you come back into your next life, it won't be on this plane. It may be in a lower form, or maybe in the hellish forms of earth. The wise know that Sattvik karma will bring pure and pleasing results. Goodness will always bring pure and pleasing results. Rajasic, anything that involves passion, worldly desires, only incurs misery, because even though these material objects around us are great, they still bring us stress. Everybody knows that one person, especially in a Guyanese community, who has to keep every single thing as clean and orderly as possible. Now, I understand being clean is a very important part of Sanatana Dharma. We have to have a clean mind, a clean body, and a clean soul in order to perform our puja. But for those people who have to keep everything in a specific way, at a specific cleanliness level, do you think they're living their lives in a very calm and stable manner? Not necessarily. And for those who live in ignorance, for those who don't see the good in the world around them, for those who are ignorant to others, for those who are ignorant to God, for those who come to temple just to sing a song to hear themselves, for those who talk just to hear their own voice, for those who do good just to see the results that come from it, those ignorant people, you will not be born in this life as a living being. You will not attain moksha. Instead, you will be born in a lower form. You may be born onto those hellish planes of earth. That is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is saying. That is what he says. And these last four verses, devotees, 17, 18, 19, and 20, Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to say more about these modes. Very important things. He looks at Arjuna and states, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sattvat Samjayate Jnanam Rajaso Lobha Evacham Brahma Damoha Tamasam Bhavato Jnanam Evacham Urdhvam Hachanti Sattvastam Madhe Tistanti Rajasa Jamhanya Gunaritastam Adho Kachanti Tamasa Nayam Gune Vyakartaram Yadha Drastanu Pasyati Gune Vyascha Param Veti Madhbhavam Sodhi Gachati Gunan Etan Ati Tyatrin Dehi Deha Samurna Bhavan Janma Mrityu Jara Dukhir Vimukto Mritamasnute Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Jnana, knowledge, is born from Sattva Guna. Rajaguna gives rise to greed. Carelessness, delusion, and ignorance are all the products of Tamoguna. Those situated in Sattva Guna and goodness go to the higher celestial planes. Those in Rajaguna remain within the earthly planets, and those absorbed in the abominable activities of Tamoguna transcend into the lower hellish planets. When the Jiva sees no agent of action other than the three gunas and realizes the Atma to be transcendental to those modes, he develops Sudha Bhakti to me and attains my spiritual nature alone. After transcending these three modes which produce the body, the Jiva attains moksha, pure devotion, becoming free from birth, death, disease, and old age. So, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells us more. Jnana, which is knowledge, is born of goodness. Greed is born of ignorance. And passion breeds carelessness, delusion, and ignorance. And depending on which mode you are, depends on what life you're going to live once you leave this earthly plane and how you live in the next life. How your soul resides in the next life. These last two lines, 19 and 20, are very important. When the Jiva sees no agent of action other than the three gunas. So knowledge, again, knowledge is here. When you understand what these three gunas are, and you realize that the soul is transcendental to these modes, because remember, your nature is not defined by your soul is defined by the nature that you live. So what happens to your soul in the next life depends on what you do in this life. Do not make your soul feel tortured this life and the next life and the next because of how you want to live today. One who realizes the Atma is transcendental to these modes, who realizes what these gunas are and is detached from all of these gunas. He develops Suddha Bhakti, true devotion, and attains me, my spiritual nature. For those who transcend these modes, which produce the body, if you transcend Sattva Guna, Tamoguna, and Rajaguna, if you separate yourself from these, you will attain moksha. If you just live your life without having attachment, without being ignorant, if you live sattva, if you live a good life, knowing that everything you do is for Bhagwan, that Bhagwan is here, there, and everywhere, you will attain moksha, pure devotion, and you will come free from birth, from death, from disease, and from old age. You'll be free from everything. So, Arjuna is hearing all this. He hears what Sattva Guna is. He hears what Tamaguna is. He hears what Rajaguna is. He understands and hears all this. But he hears Bhagavan Shri Krishna say, when you transcend these three modes, you'll attain moksha. So Arjuna, again very confused, understands what the modes are, but in this last concept, he doesn't understand how someone can transcend these three modes. He looks at Bhagavan Shri Krishna and states, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna. Arjuna uvacha Kerlistringuna stan Atidho bhavati prabhu Kima charam katam chaitam Stringunan ativardati Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Arjuna looks at Bhagavan Shri Krishna and he inquires, O Prabhu, what are the symptoms of one who is transcendental to these three gunas? How does that person behave? And how does he transcend the modes? Which is a very good question. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, if you transcend the three material natures, Sattva, Raja, and Tamas, if you transcend these, you'll attain moksha. So how do we do that, Arjuna asks? How does one transcend the modes? Bhagavan Shri Krishna looks at Arjuna, and then the last verses 20 through to 27, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna information that we'll find out during our next regular Sunday morning satsang, devotees. Prem Swaro Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. At this time, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me. As we go ahead and clasp our hands and close our eyes. Go ahead and take some time to relax. Drop your shoulders, relax your spine, relax your neck, your forehead, everything. Focus on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you and join together with me, devotees, as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Hare Ramaya, Sarve Bhutrani Pashyantu, Ma Krishtit Dukha Bhag Bhave, Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktahinam Janardanam, Yatya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tarastu Me, Papoham Papo Karamaham Papo Atma Papo Sambhava, Trahimam Pundarikaksham Sarva Papo Haro Hari, Om Tvameva Mantascha Pitha Tvameva Bhangoscha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Asato Masadhamaya, Tamasuma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityuma Mritam Yamaya, Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Gurura Brahma Gurura Vishnu Gurura Deo Maheshwara Gurura Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruye Shanti Rama Shanti Aushadheya Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvegam Shanti Shanti Deva Shanti Sama Shanti Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki जय. प्रेम से बोलो आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय. प्रेम से बोलो नवग्रह देवता की जय. प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शक्ति मंदिर की जय. प्रेम से बोलो सनातन धर्म की जय. Devotees, with this, we've come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Just a few announcements. I want to go through the calendar really quickly, just so everybody is aware of what events are coming up. That way you can appropriately worship at home if you so choose to do so. Sunday, May 16th, again, that's going to be next Sunday. It will mark Suradasan Adi Guru Shankaracharya Jayanti, as well as Thursday, May 20th, 2021, will be known as Sita Jayanti. So those are the events that are coming up in May. We are not doing any special services for those, but we will be talking about them as we get closer to those dates. Again, on behalf of the executive board of the Shiv Shakti Mandir, and as some words from our president, we'd like to wish every single one of the mothers viewing a very, very happy Mother's Day. In May 10th, 2020, these are notes from our president, we started the virtual puja. Is when we started. So a year ago is when we started virtual puja. And the impact of COVID-19 on our children and our community continue to be immeasurable. It has been a very difficult year for all of us in terms of things that we needed to do, life we needed to live, and things we needed to get done. It's hard to live a very dharmic way when you're told, stay home. But by staying home, we are supporting those and helping those around us while still trying to help those around us. For the past difficult 13 months, we do strength and courage from that spark of God, that spark of Bhagwan, known as Mataji or Mother. Today, we celebrate mothers for their innate strength, their courage, and most importantly, their love. A mother's strength can never be replicated. So today, and to all days, mothers are our winners, and we bow to them. Happy Mother's Day to all. And even though devotees, and for the kids listening, even though today in in Western culture, we have a day dedicated to mothers, know that within our Dharma, within our religion, within Sanatana Dharma, it's our duty to worship our mothers every day. Every day is Mother's Day. We should respect our mothers. Help our mothers, assist our mothers, understand what the mothers go through, and support them each and every day. So to all the mothers out there, very happy Mother's Day. Before we talk about our birthdays and anniversaries, what I do want to mention to all of you devotees is that unfortunately for the next 2 weekends, I will be unavailable. I will be traveling and taking care of a good number of things over the next 2 weekends. So we will not be having virtual Sunday service live. However, there will still be something recorded and posted on the YouTube for all of you to watch on Sunday at 10 o'clock. So each Sunday, which is next Sunday and the Sunday after, which is going to be May 16th, Sunday, May 16th, and Sunday, May 23rd. We will not have live service, but I will still record a sermon and some prayers, and I will post it. You will not be able to view those things until 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. So there's no advanced previews for these things. You still can come to our YouTube page at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning and listen to these services live at 10 o'clock, right? So again, they won't be live. They will be pre-recorded. I apologize for doing that, but I still want to make sure that you all are getting the content, hearing the words of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, the information from the Bhagavad Gita, and we're still continuing to understand what Sanatana Dharma is and spread Dharma, religion, Sattva Guna, goodness throughout the world. So again, the next 2 weeks will be pre-recorded services that I will upload to Sunday morning service. In terms of special events that went on this week, we had 2 very important people at the Mandir celebrate birthdays. So to Uncle Mool, happy birthday to you, and to Auntie Nali, happy birthday to you as well. I hope you both had a very wonderful birthday, a very wonderful birthday filled with love, joy, happiness. I hope that you get to spend some time with their family. Very happy birthday to you both. And to Uncle Chris and Auntie Jenny, happy anniversary to you both. They just celebrated their anniversary this week. So to you 2 wonderful people who I know who always have Sattva Guna in your hearts, who are goodness, who represent goodness, who spread goodness, happy anniversary to you both. Devotees, with that being said, I have no other announcements for today. I want to thank you all for watching live here on our Sunday morning satsang virtually. For those who've of you who are watching live. And for those of you who are watching maybe in the future who can't tune in exactly at 10 o'clock on Sundays, we will continue our virtual satsangs until further notice as we understand more about how COVID is spreading and kind of how safe it is and the vaccinated population here in Georgia. We'll keep you all updated whether we're not or going to have live services or services back at the Mandir at any time soon. But other than that, devotees, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. We hope you have a very fantastic week. And as always, we'll see you again here next Sunday for our regular Sunday morning satsang. Jai Sita Ram.